Did you know the infamous H.H. Holmes, creator of Chicago's murder castle, may never have killed anyone inside that notorious building? The truth behind the legend is far more complex and unsettling than most people realize. While Holmes is often remembered as America's first serial killer, the real story of his so-called castle is tangled in myth, rumor, and sensational headlines. The castle's legend is filled with secret passages, gas chambers, and a basement crematorium, but most confirmed murders happened elsewhere. Newspapers of the era fueled the hysteria, describing elaborate torture chambers and labyrinthine corridors, but much of this was exaggeration or pure invention. Holmes was above all a master of deception. The castle was his ultimate con, a monument to fraud, not just murder. He designed it to confuse, mislead, and manipulate both his victims and the public. He swindled suppliers, cheated insurance companies, and conned investors, using the building as a tool for his schemes. Holmes changed contractors frequently, ensuring no one but himself knew the full layout, and he used this confusion to his advantage. The structure was engineered for evil: trapdoors, chutes to the basement, airtight rooms, and a kiln for remains. Yet some features may have been designed more for insurance fraud than for murder, blurring the line between fact and fiction. But was it truly a factory of death, or just a killer's ego made real? The scale remains a mystery. Even today, historians debate how many victims there really were, and how much of the castle's horror was simply Holmes's own invention. As we step inside this legend, remember, we're exploring both a place and a myth. The murder castle is as much a product of the public's imagination as it is of Holmes's twisted mind. At the center is Herman Webster Mudgett, Dr. Henry Howard Holmes, a con artist, bigamist, and killer. His many faces allowed him to move through society undetected, preying on the vulnerable and the trusting. His story is a chilling reminder that monsters often hide behind charm and respectability. Holmes was the embodiment of the dark side of the American dream, using wit and charisma to mask his true intentions. The murder castle's true horror lies in its ambiguity. Let's step inside and separate the man from the myth. Holmes was born Herman Webster Mudgett in 1861, in the quiet town of Gilmanton, New Hampshire. From the outside, his early life seemed ordinary. He was the son of devout Methodist parents, growing up in a rural community where everyone knew each other. But beneath the surface, Holmes was already different. Early stories from his childhood hint at a disturbing fascination with anatomy and a chilling lack of empathy. He was rumored to dissect small animals and was bullied by classmates, which only deepened his obsession with the macabre. Holmes was a chameleon, changing names and stories to suit his needs. He adopted new identities with ease, slipping in and out of towns, always staying one step ahead of suspicion. At the University of Michigan, he honed his skills in fraud, stealing cadavers, faking deaths, and collecting insurance payouts. His medical training gave him the perfect cover for his schemes, and he quickly learned how to manipulate both the living and the dead. Death became his business model. People were assets to be liquidated. He saw opportunity in every tragedy, turning loss into profit with chilling efficiency. After medical school, Holmes left a trail of scams and bigamy, charming and abandoning women across the country. He married multiple times, often without divorcing, and used his relationships to further his cons. In Chicago, as Dr. Henry Howard Holmes, he reinvented himself as a respectable pharmacist and doctor. The city was booming, and Holmes saw endless possibilities in its chaos and anonymity. His charisma was his deadliest weapon, allowing him to operate in plain sight. He could win over anyone: landlords, business partners, and especially his victims. Holmes could talk anyone into anything, masking a cold, calculating mind. He was a master manipulator, always plotting his next move. He built his empire in a city primed for transformation, where fortunes were made overnight and secrets could be easily buried. Behind the friendly smile was a predator who had found the perfect hunting ground. Chicago's rapid growth provided him with endless victims and opportunities. Holmes's charm hid his true nature. He was a master at blending in, always hiding his monstrous intentions behind a mask of civility. The stage was set for his most infamous creation, a place where his darkest ambitions would finally come to life. In Chicago, Holmes took over a pharmacy and the empty lot across the street, soon to become his infamous castle. He announced a hotel for the 1893 World's Fair, but from the start, it was a fortress of secrets. Holmes constantly hired and fired construction crews, ensuring no one but him knew the full layout. This strategy let him avoid paying workers and kept the building's true purpose hidden. The castle's ground floor was legitimate, with storefronts and a pharmacy. Upstairs, over 100 windowless, soundproofed rooms formed a maze of confusion. Staircases led nowhere, doors opened onto brick walls, designed to disorient and trap. Gas pipes, trapdoors, and chutes to the basement were all part of the deadly design. An alarm system alerted Holmes to any movement. The castle was an extension of Holmes, impressive outside, deadly within. It was his private playground and morgue. Holmes was a patient predator, targeting mostly young single women new to Chicago. He placed job ads for assistants and housekeepers, luring the vulnerable with promises of work and romance. Holmes charmed his victims, sometimes proposing marriage, and convinced them to sign over assets and take out life insurance, naming himself as beneficiary. Once he had their trust and money, their fate was sealed. The castle's confusing layout made escape nearly impossible. Holmes controlled every secret. He watched through peepholes, manipulated air supply, and moved unseen via secret passages. The architecture itself was a weapon, stripping hope before the end. Anyone who became a liability, employee, guest, or business associate, could become a target. Holmes eliminated obstacles with chilling pragmatism. The castle provided the means, his conscience provided no limits. Victims vanished without a trace. The 1893 World's Fair brought millions to Chicago, a perfect cover for Holmes. The city was overwhelmed, people vanished easily in the chaos. Holmes marketed his building as the World's Fair Hotel, drawing a steady stream of unsuspecting guests. Young women especially were easy targets, alone in a strange city, reassured by Holmes's charm. The fair's crowds provided endless victims and masked any disappearances. While the world marveled at the White City, Holmes's dark mirror image operated nearby. The fair symbolized progress, the castle, depravity. The noise and movement of the exposition hid Holmes's crimes. The World's Fair became the backdrop for one of America's darkest crime sprees. Holmes thrived in the shadows of celebration. The castle's second floor was a labyrinth of terror, a maze of trap rooms and secret passages, some lined with asbestos and gas pipes, others transformed into soundproofed vaults. Each room was designed with a sinister purpose, blending the appearance of a normal hotel with hidden dangers lurking behind every door. Holmes could lock unsuspecting guests inside these rooms, their cries muffled by thick walls, and silently fill the air with deadly gas, killing them as they slept or struggled in vain. The guests never realized the danger until it was far too late. Ingenious trapdoors and greased chutes allowed Holmes to dispose of bodies quickly and efficiently, sending them straight to the basement below. This gruesome system kept the rooms ready for new victims, ensuring the castle's deadly cycle never stopped. The building itself functioned as a horrifying assembly line, where every step was calculated for maximum efficiency and secrecy. The basement was Holmes's private laboratory and morgue, a place filled with a dissecting table, a powerful crematorium, vats of acid, and pits of quicklime. Here, the true extent of his crimes became clear. In this grim underworld, Holmes processed the bodies, stripping flesh from bone and preparing skeletons for sale. Every tool and table had its purpose in his gruesome trade. Holmes sold the remains to medical schools and research institutions, profiting from every part of the process. Even in death, his victims were exploited for financial gain. The castle wasn't just a place to kill, it was a factory for turning people into commodities, a chilling blend of industry and murder. Holmes's depravity was systematic and profitable, his business model built on suffering and secrecy. Every detail, from hidden locks to intricate blueprints, served his dark business and ensured no one escaped his grasp. The true horror was in the efficiency. Victims became products, their identities erased and their remains cataloged for profit. The castle was more than a building. It was a machine of death, a chilling testament to the depths of human cruelty and ingenuity. Holmes's downfall began with insurance fraud, not murder. He killed his partner Benjamin Petetzel instead of faking his death, then took custody of Petetzel's children. Detective Frank Geyer tracked Holmes across states, uncovering a trail of deceit in the bodies of the Petetzel children. Holmes's arrest for the Petetzel murders led Chicago police to investigate the castle. A fire gutted much of the building, but investigators found enough labyrinthine design, gas pipes, and secret chutes. In the basement, they discovered dissecting tables, a kiln, vats of acid, and human remains. Bone fragments, jewelry, and clothing revealed the scale of the horror. The castle's secrets shocked the world. Newspapers dubbed it the Murder Castle. Holmes's legend was born from the ruins. The true extent of his crimes remains uncertain. The castle became a symbol of hidden evil. Its secrets were finally exposed. Holmes was captured in Boston in 1894, initially for horse theft. While awaiting trial for insurance fraud, the discovery of the Pitezel children's bodies sealed his fate. The press painted him as America's most wanted monster. Holmes acted as his own lawyer, but the evidence was overwhelming. He was found guilty and sentenced to death by hanging. On death row, Holmes sold his sensational confession to newspapers claiming 27 murders, though the real number is unknown. His stories were filled with contradictions and lies, feeding the myth. Holmes's final con was his own legend. He was executed in 1896, requesting burial in cement to prevent grave robbing. Even in death, he feared the fate he gave others. Holmes died slowly, his end as grim as his crimes. The monster was finally gone. A.H. Holmes is often called America's first serial killer, his story haunting the nation's imagination. The Murder Castle became a symbol of hidden horrors and the dangers of blind trust. Holmes's legend has inspired books, documentaries, and films, most notably The Devil in the White City. The tale's power lies in its contrast, the optimism of the World's Fair versus Holmes's darkness. Today, nothing remains of the castle. A post office stands on its site with no sign of its grim past. The story endures as a chilling reminder of evil hiding in plain sight. Holmes's true body count remains a mystery. The past is never truly dead. Its shadows linger. If you're fascinated by these dark histories, subscribe for more. There's always more to uncover in the shadows. The legend of H.H. Holmes lives on.